put the intro on.
No, it's cool. Let's do the countdown. Give us a little time so we people can kind of get on. So
Okay.
let's go.
Welcome. April 7th, we apologize for the delay. Mr. Barry Crosby, Dr. James Hill. What's up? How you doing?
We're doing good. We're doing good.
Doing good. What's up, Big Twan? How you doing?
Sure.
How you living?
Yo, man, we've had a lot of obstacles to get through over this last couple of months. Glad to be here, man. Glad to be here with you fellas. I'm glad to be pushing on with the show, man.
It's great, man. Once again, guys, thank you for tuning in to Shopkulture. Man, we're usually Tuesdays at 8:30, but we had to switch things around. We got some personal stuff going on, and
life happens.
It's life. But we appreciate you guys still sticking with us and staying strong with us, because we're gonna get it back right every Tuesday at 8:30. We see the viewers going up. Welcome, guys. This is Shopkulture. I'm joined once again by my tag team partner. You know who this man is, the relationship guru,
That's
Doctor slash Mr. slash Doctor. Well, that's what we call it, man. Let's roll.
How you doing, everybody? Glad you're tuning in. We got a good discussion tonight. We're
gonna talk about some social media stuff.
Yeah. So, how's everybody doing? So, there was a topic I posted on Facebook today, which is really concerning and which a lot of people have experienced. And so we wanted to flip the tables a little bit and ask, should women go to jail for falsely accusing a man of being a child's father? This happens in a lot of people's lives. And a lot of times, a lot of the responses I get were regarding the man going to jail for non-payment of child support. But more often than not, that man does not go to jail, and he supports that child for most of his childhood, most of his life, and finding out later in life, and maybe in the child's teenage years, that this child is not his. Should the woman go to jail? What do you guys think?
Well, Doc, what do you say? Did you say they should go to jail? Yeah, they should go to jail.
I believe
false imprisonment.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a false accusation. It's like a character assassination. What's the difference between that and defamation of character or character assassination? Because you're taking away finances from this man that he could have done other things with for 15 years or however long he's been taking care of this child or paying you child support, and you well knowing that this is not his child and are in it for the financial gain. You should go to jail and be charged restitution.
I mean, it should be.
Misty, I have to ask off top. What if she didn't know? What do you mean? How did she not know?
Women know more than men who the father of their child is.
Oh, so Doc, that's a big claim. Because there's a lot of women, right, that will tell you, I didn't know, and they were messing around with multiple people, which is nothing wrong with that, right?
But if that's the case, she can't say she didn't know, but she can't say it was questionable. It was questionable on whose child it is.
Well, it is questionable. That's what she's saying. She's saying she didn't know.
Okay, well then reveal it and let it know. Let him know, or all involved know that it's questionable. That's when DNA tests come into play.
And Misty brought up a great point. What's up, Misty? How you doing? She says you can be sleeping with more than one man, and we're not criticizing that because you know what I'm saying, that happens, and that's your right. People have sex with multiple people. Now, maybe the question mark becomes if it's like 3 or maybe 3 or 4. Maybe I guess
that could be the case as well. But then at that point, it's questionable to that woman who the father of her child is. So don't just pin it on the man who's most financially stable and has the resources to support that child in his upbringing. You know, let him know that it's questionable. I'm not sure who the father of this child is.
But you're asking somebody to kind of disclose their sexual history and activity. to somebody.
When it comes to the point of who's the parent of a child, yes.
But people ain't going to do that, though.
Well,
that's what I'm saying. As honest as we hope people would be with that, that's not the case.
Well, what's she going to do? Roll the dice? It's a crap
That's what she's doing.
Or she's going to say who's the best to rear this child? Who's going to be more supportive? Who has more money? Who's financially able? That's not fair to that man.
And I agree with you, Doctor. I'm just saying that there are reasons. Although the reasons are messed up, it has happened and it does happen.
Right. Okay. So say she's sleeping with 3 guys. She tells all 3 guys, "I'm pregnant."
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what do you think? What is she going to go with the most likely with the guy that has the financial ability to support this child and is happiest about her being pregnant?
I'm not mad at her for making a great financial. Hey, that's a great financial. You can't be upset with. I mean,
but it's a financial.
Morally, it's incorrect. Morally, it is totally wrong. But it has happened. So us acting like this doesn't happen is crazy and ludicrous. It happens all times to athletes or anybody that's successful.
Okay, so you find out at 12 years old this is not your child, and you've paid $150,000 over those 12 years in child support.
Okay.
Send her ass to jail. And does she have to pay restitution and pay that money back?
First of all, she don't have that type of money to pay no restitution.
Okay. But you can garnish her wages. If she works, you get her income tax.
She is working. She had that baby for you.
Oh, no. Well, we both work to have that baby. And we both work to rear that child, you know. And now there's an emotional attachment. And even though if a man raises a child, if you're in the household or not, if you're looking at that as your child and it's 12 years old, just because biologically it's not your child, you're still going to have that emotional attachment.
Oh, there's a big time emotional attachment.
Yes, and you're still going to treat that child as if it was yours. But monetarily, the relationship between you and the mom and you and the child, that's 2 different relationships. And don't group them together.
First of all, no harm should be toward the child because the child had no say so in
Absolutely.
In growing up.
Absolutely.
Decisions. Okay, so we're not saying that at all.
Yeah.
Let's get to some of these questions. Once again, guys, thank you for tuning in. This is, you know what it is. It's Shop Culture. Some people get a little hot. How many of us know somebody or people like this in this type of situation? There is so many of them that you really don't know who the father is. It's a guess. Right.
So should she be transparent and say, I'm not sure you're the father of this child, regardless of how happy he is about it or how financially able he is to support this child and willing as well?
I would go even a step further. Shouldn't all men take tests to make sure that they are the father? It doesn't matter what the circumstances. Should all men take the test, just in case?
For your assurance, it's a good thing to do, yes.
If you're not married, I'm saying, do you think all men should do that?
If you're not married, yes, you should. Just to be 100%, yes. And if she has objection to that, well, that's more reason that you should.
Well, because a lot of women would probably take that as an insult.
Well, okay.
That you're up there basically saying that she slept around.
No, you're just saying you want to be 100% sure that this child is yours. And if she can say clearly that she didn't sleep around, okay. Let's hear.
Once again, guys, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you share Shop Culture. We're talking about all men should take tests.
Marvin said he's been married. Okay, ooh.
My son's my wife.
He's been married. Scroll back down. What did Nick say?
What's up, Nick Jones?
Nick Jones.
Nick Jones is always in the building.
Nick Jones said 9 out of 10. If she is falsely accusing or claiming a man to be the father of her child or children, that tells me she already knew that he wasn't the father. She knew the benefit she'd get out of that, thereby engaging in fraud. So yes, she should go to jail and pay that money back.
Nick Jones said so. Nick Jones is going for go to jail. So what's the most important aspect of that? To pay back the money or to go to jail? Because they are 2 separate things there.
You seemingly wouldn't be doing your child justice or that child any justice if you were to send the other parent to jail. So seemingly you wouldn't want that person to be out of their life. the money would be the end all right there.
Well, you're hoping that the most important aspect is that relationship with the child.
But then if you look at it, men go to jail, lose their driving privileges all the time for non-payment of child support, regardless of what their financial situation is.
Shouldn't they lose all that if you're not taking care of your responsibility?
Well, sometimes you're not able. You could have medical issues. You could be down on you could be between jobs and 3 payments short on your child support. So now you go to jail. Now you take your driver's license is gone. You're a truck driver by vocation. How does that enable you, or how does that motivate you to pay your child support?
I think you're straight.
I mean, if you're quitting jobs and you're dodging child support, you're moving from state to state, because one state will rarely go to another state and chase a man down for child support. You know.
But there's something that you can do to help take care of that child, though.
Right.
There's something. Let's get to some of them. I'm sorry, guys.
Will said, what did Will say?
What's up, Will? How you doing?
It should be a mandatory hospital practice to do a printed DNA test.
Ooh, Will.
That's a good point, Will.
Will.
Now, why isn't it? Why isn't a DNA test done with the blood test, with the prick of the heel with the baby, and you find out day 3 whose kid this is?
Wow. You know what? Do you trust the government and to get involved with that process of determining?
I wouldn't say it's the government, but
it is.
I mean, the hospital does all other kind of tests when the baby's born.
I don't know if I trust that, but
hearing
that's
tests, sickle cell anemia, polio. They're doing all these tests. Why shouldn't the DNA test be one of these things?
Okay.
Well, let's hear some of the comments.
Shalise said, yes, even married couples. How many folks were married and the baby wasn't her husband's baby?
Right.
Great point.
And when does he find out? I mean, is that grounds for divorce? I mean, what do you do? Should she go to jail?
Yep.
We got a special guest in the house.
You see our special guest here. Gus in the building.
Oh, we got a little Gus in the building. Bull Mastiff.
Yes. That's interesting. Now, watch out.
Who made it?
Where's the boys?
Yo, wanted to throw this one out, and Missy said that it doesn't make kids. Don't make kids that you can't provide for.
I agree, and I think that's kind of a different conversation, but that is true. But I mean,
people aren't thinking about that in the act of sex.
Yeah.
They're not thinking about that.
Every time that you had sex, did you think about whether or not that could be a possibility?
Right.
Until after the bust, so.
And Marvin said, I think our ass need to be treated the same way the state treats the man.
Who said that, Marvin?
Marvin Johnson. Thank you, Marvin.
How you doing, Marvin? Like always, on point, Marvin.
Absolutely. Because if a woman is having sex with 2 or 3 men, why shouldn't she pick the best suitor, the best father, the best one that's financially stable to pin it on?
And they usually do.
Right. This is your baby. So should she be offended if he says, okay, you're pregnant, there's a possibility you could be with other people, or if you guys have had an agreement, we're seeing other people off and on, it's iffy.
But again, that goes to
I mean, so you don't go through years of wondering. Just tell her nothing against you, but I want to be 100% sure that I'm the father of this child. I want to get a DNA.
But honestly, though, if you said that, most women, and I'm just going to put it out there, would get offended by that.
Okay.
They would get very offended
if you're having sex with them
and you said, hey, I want to take a paternity test.
Okay. Then she'll get offended. Let her get offended. But if it turns out to be your child, you apologize and you do your fatherly, your manly duty.
You think that relationship was going to go back to being whatever?
It absolutely would.
Oh, would it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Why would you need to apologize, Doc?
And
why is it that you would need to apologize for having a DNA test done?
No, if that was a hurtful thing to her, hey, I apologize.
You got your feelings hurt.
Right.
Because I wanted to be sure of something.
Right.
Okay, you got your feelings hurt.
Right.
I need you to move on.
Right. This is an action that you took that that hurt her feelings. Okay, I hurt your feelings. I apologize for that. That's not my intention. But I just want to be 100% sure in the upbringing of this child that he's mine, biologically mine.
You know what?
What did Nicholas say?
I'm going to have to roll with Marvel on this one. No apology. You didn't do something wrong by asking for the paternity test just because somebody got their feelings hurt. It is what it is.
But it's still...
Right.
His feelings are still hurt, though.
Feelings are still hurt. You want to be considerate of their feelings.
Now, granted, I would... Let's tough. Hey, by the way, I need you to get the fraternity test. I still think your feelings are already hurt. Right when you say that, your feelings are hurt. But I understand what you're saying.
Right. But it's all in your delivery. And it's how you say, I want to be 100% sure. And at this point, I'm not. And there's going to be a discussion. There's going to be a candid conversation around that. So you don't trust me. You think I was with somebody else.
No, I don't trust you. That's why I'm asking you for the I mean, Doc, I don't know how much more I can say. Like, no, I don't trust you. Okay? Yeah, we're barebagging. You're probably barebagging with 2 other ones. Okay, let's just keep it 100.
Right. You know, the possibility is there.
You know, we're not trying to say it's necessarily
Sabrina Dawn, is that a new viewer?
Yo,
what's your
How you doing, Sabrina? Thank you for tuning in. Shopkulture.
Sabrina had a very interesting one and said, yo, if any female has multiple partners, why in the world is she not on some type of birth control in addition to using condoms with each partner? Shake my head. That's careless and irresponsible.
Now wait a minute, Sabrina. Now, and granted, now let's come on. We're all grown here. I can tell you a lot of reasons why that's not used or whatnot. And you know what's that? And being safe, you should always be a #1 priority. Absolutely correct. But there's tons of babies out here. So you tell me, Sabrina, answer that question.
Hey, V, glad you're tuning in.
V's back. How you doing, V?
Hey, what's good with you, lady? How you doing? Yo, V said, if you need to be sure who the father is a DNA test needs to be done, especially if 2 people lay down together and you're not exclusive.
Absolutely. And so the question's still live. Why isn't this done in the hospital as an option to either parent?
No, well, you didn't say as an option. We said it should be.
Right.
That's it should be an option. Right. I agree with that. If that's the case.
Because you're going to be charged for this, so they're going to ask you, do you want a DNA test? If either parent says yes, you get that DNA test.
So okay, how about this? Should consent be given by both the parents, not just one?
Either one. Either parent who requests a DNA test should be performed at birth.
Wow.
Or if you could do an amniocentesis.
What do you guys think about that, Dick?
If you do an amniocentesis, you can get it done while she's pregnant.
Wow. So what do you guys think? Do you guys think that only one person should request it and it should be done, or both? That's a good question.
Yo, I gotta agree with Marvel on this one.
What did Marvel say? How you doing, Marvel?
Said I wouldn't, but I know too many maybe babies out there.
There's tons of them.
And back up, because I saw a comment.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Nick, and what did Nick? We missed some from Nick, didn't we?
Nick said they throw men in jail for back child support payments. Why shouldn't they put women in jail for what's essentially fraud?
Okay, Nick Jones.
Because she's a woman and society shouldn't take it easy on her.
Now Nick is absolutely correct. How come they do? How come society we do take it easy on? It's not really frowned upon.
Right. And it should be.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of men go through life thinking they had a child who really wanted a child and knows that it's not biologically their child. It's not of their lineage. So that hurts in a lot of ways, not just in the financial aspect.
Well, I think it hurts to be being lied to, being
misled.
And then not only that, we're not only talking about that, how about the families that are involved? There's tons of family, you know what I'm saying?
Right. What does Sabrina say? V says she agrees with Sabrina. Is Sabrina out there? How you doing, Sabrina?
Yo, V said that I totally agree with Sabrina. Both male and female should be protected, and it should be discussed. 5 minutes of pleasure for a lifetime of pain is not worth it. DNA tests are expensive, but who's going to pay for it is part of what.
DNA tests $800.
Hey, real quick, Sabrina, quick. I see Barry. She said something about Barry up there. See, Barry, you gave me my youngest his first haircut. I said, "Is that mine?" I was about to say, hold on. DNA, damn it. I got scared. I'm like, wait a minute.
It's just a haircut. Just a haircut, B.
All right, man. Thank you for watching, Sabrina. I appreciate it. Hey, I don't know. I take that as a compliment, but man, I'm getting old. When you talk about getting my youngest his first haircut, but that's all. Yeah. Woo.
Yo, Sabrina.
Don't scare me like that, Sabrina.
Sabrina said I have 2 sons that are 18 years apart.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, by 2 different men. Barry, you gave my youngest his first haircut.
Yeah,
my point is, there wouldn't be so many single mothers if they protected themselves from the jump.
I mean, again, and I think we all in this room can agree with that. But it's dual responsibility. It's not just on the women or the mothers. It's both.
Right.
Well, that's very, very valid.
$800 is not much pay for a DNA test for a lifetime of child support payments, 18 years.
Okay, we're gonna have to get Gus over because he's gonna knock over.
Gus is on the set trying to tear things up.
we love you, Gus.
Yo, Mr. Nicholas Jones. Yo, appreciate you, Nicholas. Nicholas says they are making it mandatory for men to take prenatal DNA tests. Utah just passed this as they law several days ago. I believe Wisconsin and New York does the same thing. So, gentlemen, it does look like it's going to be a standard thing to get that DNA test done, whether the baby's, just about to come out or whether the baby's out. It looks like it's about to be a standard thing.
I don't know how I feel about that. Like I said, I think if the state is making payments or doing something like that to assist, possibly. I don't know necessarily if I want the government involved with that, but that's another topic.
Well, we're not saying the government. We're just saying hospital policy.
Still, the government got access to it. They got access. But we'll talk about that another. See,
okay.
Woo! The doc started it today.
You know what? Yo, good question, and I want to hear from everybody on this one. Marva asked, how about the kid that will suffer mentally, emotionally due to their mother's dishonesty? You guys think that's going to play a role?
Now, that's what we mentioned earlier. You don't bring the child into it whatsoever. Even if this is not your child biologically and you find out that this is not your child maybe 13 years later, that does not change the emotional connection and attachment you have or responsibility for their upbringing. It just changes the finances. It just changes the dynamics. Like I said, your relationship with that child is totally different than the relationship with that child's mother. Two different relationships.
But it's still a relationship, though, Doc.
Yes, and it's two separate relationships. You're going to feel bitter. You're not going to trust the mother for what she did, but you cannot fault the child for that, and you have to treat them the same.
You can't, but it is when you look at your child. Unfortunately, it's going to be a reminder, though.
It's going to be a reminder
of the dishonesty that did take place.
But you're still going to have love in your heart for that child that you cared for so many years.
You should.
Or you will. It's a natural thing.
Yes, you should.
I mean, that's been your child for 13 years. Now you find out that biologically is not of your lineage, so you're just going to cut them off.
There's a lot. Well, unfortunately, there's a lot of men that would probably do that.
Right.
And it's discouraging.
It is.
Because that child still needs a father.
Right. And that's where the child suffers.
V said, yep, Utah did just pass the law. So yeah, we want to I have to read more about that law. That's an interesting law, and I have to read kind of more detail about that. But hey, it started in Utah, which is Mormon, so that's
right. And then they're a big part of the Ancestry.com. I think the Mormons on that, as a matter of fact. So that's important, in their faith. What did Teresa say? Hey, Teresa, she said, if there's any question about a paternity, a DNA test is mandatory. The adults have a responsibility to that innocent baby, and they do. They do.
Absolutely.
Mainly the mother, if she's having sex with multiple men, and knows that there is the possibility. Isn't it wrong
that we kind of putting it all on the woman because she's choosing to have sex with multiple people?
Then if she's not sure who that father is, if she can't narrow it down, then she needs to let them all know, I'm not sure. She needs to get there, collect some DNA, have that candid conversation, go through that DNA test, find out who's the father of your child.
D'Angelo, what's up, brother?
Responsibility, though, Doc? Is
that
not part of personal responsibility? If that's the risk that you're going to take for sleeping with multiple people, you should be, if that's the decision that you're going to make, you should be ready to make the decision to have that DNA test and have that open, candid conversation.
But you're not thinking about that.
No, who's thinking about that?
Time.
So every time that you've had sex, have you thought about DNA test? You know what I'm saying? I mean, let's just count.
I had sex with me, so I'm cool.
Okay. Well, again, point taken. What's up, D'Angelo? And D'Angelo said he agreed. I think he said D'Angelo said Marvin Johnson said again for the ones in the back, the kids get hurt in the end. D'Angelo and Marvin, I agree.
And that's what we're here to tell you. The kids don't always have to get hurt. Don't let the kids be collateral damage of mistakes that their parents made. I mean, it's good to know who the biological parents are, but don't put the kids in the middle of that. That's between you and the parents.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. What did Nick Jones say? Nick Jones in the building again.
Man, Nick Jones, what's good? What you want to do? Appreciate you, Nick.
You said, yes, we are. Again.
Yo, Nick said they're saying it is a way to get the biological father to be involved in helping the mother pay for the birth of the child. Insurance doesn't always cover everything for a lot of the women, and for some of the, they don't even have insurance. The state is pretty much saying, we're done paying for your bastards. Do you guys agree with, kind of what the state is saying there?
Well, most people have insurance that will cover that, because most people are gainfully employed and have a good insurance program. Every baby that's born is not on the state's responsibility. Yeah. So, but
this is what it's directed toward, the ones that are not on there, because basically the state want to dictate the financial responsibility obligation that they have because they're paying for it.
Well, yeah, when they go to the state for that child support
and everything like that.
Right. But even if they're not on assistance, the state is going to enforce child support. If you're not on assistance, you're going to pay to the Office of Support Enforcement, and they're going to issue that money to the custodial parent.
Yeah, and anybody going through that right now, maybe give us some ideas.
Yeah, do you know someone who's went through a like situation? Let us know about that.
Marva said, she knows a supposed father that found out it wasn't his kid after the DNA test 15 years later stopped any relationship with the child.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have done that, but that's because that's on the mom. That's not on the child. I mean, that's your child. I mean, you don't have a financial obligation to rear that child once you find that out, but you have an emotional attachment. You have a relationship with that child, and your actions or reactions are going to have an effect.
And shouldn't you just do the right thing? You've been in the child's life.
Stay in the child's life. I mean, you don't have a financial obligation to them anymore. And so the question started, should she go to jail at that point? She got a 15-year-old child, find out she pinned child support on you for 15 years. Should she go to jail?
No.
Nicholas said, yes, we are, Barry. We are putting it on the women. She's the one on multiple dudes irresponsibly. So, yeah, the onus comes back to them.
Nick, guys know, too, right? They know when you're dealing and dapping, it's not just on the woman, is what I'm saying. Isn't that both your responsibility?
Well, it's her responsibility if she's being with more than one man and not being safe and ends up getting pregnant. That's on her.
Oh.
To know who the father of that child is. I mean, unless the man knows, well, you're not the only one in her life.
Yeah, if she's having sex with multiple people without using protection, and how does she know who the father is? Maybe does she have the special gift? Okay.
Yo, D'Angelo, talk to us about what you know about this situation, man. We're not trying to get too deep into it, but we want to know from somebody's perspective that's actually living this scenario. If you could please enlighten us as to how this happens and what happens in this process, man, we definitely would appreciate that.
Yes. D'Angelo, how do you navigate through that?
Yeah.
I mean, clearly you'd have no more financial obligation if you find that this child is not yours. Do you cut the child off? You may love the child. You may have a really close bonding relationship with this child. Do you cut that off because of you were deceived by the child's mother?
Yes.
Or do you just cut off your financial obligation? Obligation is the key word, because you can voluntarily do something. He's starting to play baseball. He needs money for his uniform. She can't afford it. Yeah, you want him to play baseball, you're going to do that, even though you're not obligated to do that.
Yes. And Coleman, I'm talking about, call me out if you disagree about what we're talking about in terms of fraternity child support in this.
This one I have to draw a little bit of attention to.
Okay.
Fellas, can you guys respond back to this? Can you respond back to no, she should not go to jail? That would be devastating for the child.
Absolutely.
If we are truly concerned about the best interest of the child, as you are saying.
Okay, but what about the interest of the father that's been deceived for 15 years and out of over $100,000? Should there be some constitution? Should there be a lawsuit? Should she be obligated by the state to repay this man his money? Should it come out of her check? Should he get her income tax returns? How does that work?
First of all, she ain't probably have even close to that type of money to pay you.
Well,
unfortunately.
I mean, and a lot of men don't either.
Exactly.
A lot of men don't either.
They didn't either, and you didn't care.
Right. I mean, child support even comes out of your unemployment check. I mean, what's her obligation to give that man his money back after she deceived him for 15 years?
Ooh.
I mean, if the man didn't pay his child support for 15 years, he's going to jail. He's losing his driver's license.
Yep.
If he's a truck driver, his career is shot. He lost his business. He's losing his home.
Doc, do you know a truck driver? Because you've been on this truck driver.
But I'm just saying,
okay.
if your driver's license is part of your usual vocation and they take that away from you, you don't have the ability to repay anything.
Huh.
Good point.
And Misty actually had a great point too. She said, did anybody read this comment? Dudes are still having babies with multiple women today. So both parties need to wrap it up. And that's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
So Misty, I agree with you.
True. Very true. Sabrina also said she can't narrow it down. She needs to slow down. That's men and women, I believe.
Yeah. That's men and women. I know some brothers out here with 10 and 12 kids.
And not tripping.
5 or 6 different women.
And not tripping. I just had somebody
come in. Only thing they're tripping about is when child support comes. That's their obligation,
Oh! What did Nick Jones say? Nick Jones, I see Barry cry. Barry in there. What did Nick say?
Oh, man. I mean, it's one of those things. He said, yes, we know men know. However, that isn't what your topic is alluring to. It's about the irresponsibility of women and what some of them do in falsely accusing men who aren't the father of their child. Don't be the captain, save them on them now, Barry.
Keep it real, Nick. Tell them what's going on.
I want to be said. Nick.
Doc, Nicholas took the approach at you too.
No.
Let's hear it.
Nicholas said, exactly, Doc. The interest of the man in the equation as well. See, most women see only it as how it, affects their lives or from their lens. And they disregard the men's perspective on this and his, well-being, mentally, emotionally, and on purpose.
Okay, I can see that. But if a man is deceived, I mean,
that right there,
it's clearly deception. If she knows, well, he's not the father, but we were having sex around that time. He's more financially able and has a better attitude and is happy about raising the child.
Oh, wait, the attitude don't have nothing to do. No, it's about the finances, though.
Finances and your
finances is the number one.
I would say finance come first, and plus if he's open, I wouldn't mind raising the child because you want a father in your child's life.
Women want the financial stability, the safe, like you said it, Doc. What is it? The safe financial stability and finances help with all the above.
They help.
So you're not even necessarily picking the child's father. You're just picking whoever you think can give you the best advantage financially.
That you were having sex with at the time.
Do men look at the best assets when they're looking? Yes, they do. They're looking at assets too. So I mean, it goes both ways.
They may be looking at ass. I don't know about sex.
Shopkulture, you know what it is. You already know.
Yo, Misty, appreciate you, Misty. Misty said, when you don't wrap it up, you know what can happen. You know what comes with it.
Yes. I mean, and it's yes.
Let's get to D'Angelo's response here, because we asked him to elaborate on his situation.
And thanks, Steve, for chiming in, man.
Yeah, appreciate you for sharing, bro.
He's
D'Angelo said, yes, I took care of a child for 18 years. Like I missed the child to death, and no, I couldn't, cut the child off, but I was very hurt, very much so by the mother because she lied to me.
Wow. So
that's the part I'm talking about.
Wow.
What repercussions is it on that mother that she took this man through this? He did his part for 18 years. He could have put those resources in another place. He could have put those resources in his retirement. He was thinking this is his child. He could have been looking to create another child somewhere else that was his. Now 18 years of his life and a lot of his finances are gone. What is her part in it?
Well, let's ask D. What would you like to see happen in this situation?
Yeah, D'Angelo, what would be a good outcome to this for you?
What do you want to see with that? And how did you? I mean, I don't want you to have to go deep into it, but man, how did you find out? Did the courts come over? I mean, how did it happen?
Yo, Sabrina, appreciate you. Sabrina said the mother should be held accountable if she had the audacity to claim the man is the father, knowing good and hell well there was not a 100% chance of him being the father. Absolutely. Hold that lady accountable just like she held that man accountable. With or without him being the actual father, you should go ahead and have that. You should go ahead and have that same energy that you were trying to push forward with to accept the punishment that accept the other part.
Okay. And a lot of times the man finds out, and it's not by means that she told him. The child could be hospitalized and have a health issue, need a transmission, a transfusion. Yep. I mean, he could have kidney problems, and comes up you're not a match, or he needs a blood transfusion and you're not a match.
Yes.
So, I mean,
what happens in that?
Yeah.
Nicholas, pointed out that for some people, this is their hustle. That's how they apparently garner money.
Nick, do you see that? Do you see that? Do you think that's a true statement, or is that a little bit off?
I don't see that.
I don't either. No. How would that be a hustle to put? I don't know.
I've seen it, but that would be somebody I wouldn't want to associate with or lay down with to begin with. Like if that's your, if you're on a hustle tip, I'm cool.
I just think that's disgusting. I mean, wow. Who wanted? I mean, wow.
Shelton, how you doing, Shelton? Shelton Wright said, if a man is willing to press charges on a woman and send her to jail, do you think he would continue the relationship with that child?
Why not? The relationship between the woman, the child's mother, and you and the child are two different relationships.
James, and you're right, hypothetically, but I kind of agree with Shelton. What he said is it's not going to continue for a lot of men.
But why should the child have to suffer? I mean, you built an emotional attachment to this child for many years. This child looks up to you as a role model, as a positive influence. You can't just cut that off and feel good about it.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't. But the likelihood is that the relationship is going to suffer it or be non-existent after that. Especially if the man wants to put the mother in jail. Because how's the son or daughter going to take that? You're incarcerating my mother.
Well,
as long as it might be.
She did it to herself.
Still your mother.
And personally, me, I could care less if she goes to jail or not. I mean, charge her, put her on house arrest, just put a fraud charge on a record, and charge her some restitution. Pay me my money back. Start paying me $500 a month for the next 20 years of your life.
Yo, Nicholas Jones said, put her ass in jail and pay that man back expeditiously.
Ooh, some of that T.I.
I'm mad at you.
Man, okay, Nick.
I had a little bit more insight with this and said, I want to see things happen. Like, if a woman can't be honest when they have sex with different men, if you're not going to be honest with him, I had to go through the child support, like my name and everything else was on a birth certificate. And everything when the child support came through and the test came back and I wasn't the father, they took my name off the birth certificate.
Ooh. Wow. Yeah, that hurts.
So now at this point, she doesn't even know because the child's 18 years old. Now she got a lot of brain searching, explaining to do. And so now the child's asking, well, who is my dad?
Oh, goodness.
You know, it's a mess. It's a hot mess.
Yo,
and I know D personally, and he's a good dude, and we have had kind of talked about it, and to see the hurt, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because the brother's hurt, especially when you're out there working your butt, really trying to do the right thing. It's just, man.
Right, and regardless
Something
of how much
happen.
hurt it brings on you, don't put that on the child because it's not the child's fault.
And that's what he's saying. He's saying, you still want to have a relationship with your child.
But
This
that
is your child,
relationship
too.
with that child's mother is totally different than yours and that child.
Now, do you want to get back with the child's mother?
There's no trust there.
But love is
love is a vulnerable emotion, and if trust isn't there, the love can't be that strong.
What you got to say, boys?
Man,
Boys, could you go back on something?
Yo, man, that's not a problem, man. Yo,
You would go back.
There's been a few things. One of them,
Okay, talk to me.
One of them was from Misty that said, don't act like most women, get rich off of child support. Apparently, the child support that the parent is getting, Misty says is not all that. Like she's not.
I agree with Misty on that because a lot of men are acting like they're giving like some $2,000 a month type of thing,
Yeah, that's not quite. Yeah, that's not quite where things are at. So, neither one should be acting like it.
Yes.
D'Angelo said, going through that situation, he couldn't leave that child alone, like you were talking about, Barry. Like over 18 years at the least, you're going to develop a bond with that other person.
And just knowing the type of dude he is, yes, he's going to have that bond, and he ain't going to just leave.
Right. Yeah. And that's some real grown man behavior.
So shout out to D, man. Keep doing your thing, man.
Yeah.
So, and that's another thing, man. When we see people doing the right thing,
right,
we have to acknowledge that and be like, man,
absolutely,
because there's so many that go the opposite way, and we just kind of, always highlighting that part.
Right, and because their pride and ego was crushed.
Yeah.
But you think about that child, and that's the right thing to do.
And he did that, man.
Man up.
Man up.
Absolutely.
Real quick, we're going to kind of change a little bit of the topics. Once again, guys, thank you for tuning in. This is Shop Culture, and as we guys see the comments, yeah, you know how we, yeah, people got a lot to talk and say, and keep on talking about this, even when we go off the air. Man, we're going to really try to, for the summer, because we got a lot of summer stuff coming up, them boat.
Yes, sir.
Some boating coming up.
Oh, yeah.
And then also, guys, this is another thing we want to introduce, is we're going to actually have a little bit of a live audience. So you guys can kind of come down to the barbershop and kind of sit in and see how we do it, Shop Culture.
We're going to be doing an on-location live show pretty soon at...
Well, we go. I don't want to keep. We ain't gonna tell them yet.
Okay.
But it's coming up real soon at a very local Black-owned establishment. So they invited us to come up there and to shoot a Shop Culture show. So there's a lot going on, and we want to thank you guys for tuning in and helping with the growth of Shop Culture. It was all a dream.
It's a reality.
Man.
Let's talk about another thing, and this is something that actually one of our clients brought up about a month ago, and it always hits home for me because I always go back and forth about it.
You struggle with that, huh?
Now see. Okay. Ding, ding, dog. And we're gonna talk about how can I say it? We're gonna talk about social media / relationships.
Okay.
And how are they beneficial to put your relationship status on your Facebook or your IG?
Well,
why do you, or why should you, or why shouldn't you?
Now that all depends on the people involved.
Okay.
And how important a social media presence is to them. If it's important to that person, you have to consider it, yes. But a lot of people are private. But you can be private You can keep your relationship private without keeping your mate a secret. Does that make sense?
Mm. Mm.
You can put your relationship status. You don't have to put the name of the person. You don't have to put pictures of the person if you want to keep your relationship and your business and your day-to-day dealings private.
Hmm.
So is it important to put your relationship status
on
Facebook?
I've been called out about that, and to me is, if it's my social media, I should be able to put what I want on there.
Okay.
Oh, you said my. Right. I'm just saying, if I choose to be private about it, is there an issue with that? Why should it be an issue?
Okay, so then if you commit to a relationship, why shouldn't you publicize that you are committed to a relationship?
I am committed to a relationship. I'm just not saying I got to put it on social media.
Or as far social media is important to this person, why wouldn't you put it there and say, yes, I'm in a committed relationship? Or
can I just say I'm in a relationship? Or do I have to say the person's name? Do I have to do all that?
You don't. Just put you're in a relationship.
Okay.
I mean, because if you don't and you choose not to, and this person feels strongly about it, are you putting the impression out there that you're still single on social media? And social media presence is huge these days.
Should it be that huge when you're at a certain? I can understand.
It is what it is.
But Doc, when we reach a certain age, should that be such an important? If you're over a certain age, I would say, let's just say 35. Should it matter that your relationship status on your Facebook is such and such and such?
It all depends on how prevalent you are on social media and what importance that this partner puts on social media presence. If it's important to them, consider it. And if you don't consider it,
okay, it can be considered, but it shouldn't be that, because I don't think the person should dictate what you have to put on your social media.
No, it's not.
And I think, but a lot of times it does get to that point.
You think there's pressure put on?
Oh, absolutely. I think there is pressure, and it doesn't mean that you're taking it to do anything, secretly. It's just that, hey, I just don't put it on there.
Okay, but why not?
Why should I?
Why?
Because like Marva.
That was good.
Does it have to be publicly announced?
Come on, Marva.
It doesn't.
Come on, Marva. Marva in the
be.
building.
It doesn't have to be. But if this is important to the person you're in a relationship with, and you don't want to be want it to be assumed that you're single, if you don't want to gain attention from single people looking to pursue you, and you want to focus on this one person, you put it out there, I'm in a relationship.
But Doc, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
A third of them will go away.
Ooh, no, Doc, you ought to stop.
Missy gave us that real talk. Missy said, if you are my real friend, you know who my significant other is.
Oh.
If you're in my circle, you know who my people are.
Okay.
If you're not, apparently it's none of your business, like Mr. Nick Jones said.
Right. But that social media presence, like I said, it's huge these days. It means a lot to a lot of people. I mean, your circle may be 8 or 10 people, though you may have 3,000 or 4,000 Facebook friends. So people out there talk, and if they see you as single and eligible, they're going to come at you, or they can come at you. But if you're saying you're in a relationship, you're being more transparent and saying that I just think
it should matter within your relationship.
It should not matter within a relationship. It shouldn't be a requirement. It should be a personal choice. If I choose to say I'm in a relationship, yes, I'm in a relationship.
Is it important to show pictures of your significant other, though?
No.
Who? For what?
No.
So that somebody else can approve your relationship?
No.
I'm asking, yes, because some people seem like it's very important.
No, it's not important.
No.
What's important is how you treat your relationship between the two of you. Social media presence, that's secondary.
How you doing, Ashley? I see you. Ashley, what you think? Is it important? Relationship status on Facebook. And now people actually have like these announcement parties about like relationships. It's
really?
Like,
what? Does that happen?
I've seen it.
Who does that?
I'm just saying. It is surprised, especially I think at a certain age. I just never thought that it would be a big deal. Will you go with me? And then I have to tell. I don't know.
Okay, Shawnee says my status is blank. I only changed it when I was married, and it'll stay blank until I marry again.
Yep. So she agreed.
Okay.
Okay.
So you're saying you're open to suitors? Is that what you're saying? Even if you're seeing somebody, you're open to other, or you just don't, or you don't want to just shut that down to a certain extent.
Or maybe to me it's just not that important. But it shouldn't be. But whoever you're dealing with shouldn't make that a requirement on your page of what you should put on there.
Absolutely not.
And I think that's where the issue with me lies.
Absolutely not. It should be a personal choice.
Teresa said, if you are not single, then why do you say you are publicly?
It's not that you're saying that you are single. It's just that that's something that you're not checking somebody's box on.
You haven't disclosed it.
It's not. Yeah. It's
or
not
maybe they're trying.
that
But again, to me, that should be between you. You know, when you guys make that.
But like I said, you can keep your relationship private without keeping your mate a secret.
Absolutely.
It's up to what you reveal.
Yeah. Yeah. And at the end of the day, who cares anyway? I mean,
a lot of people do look at social media and take it as real life. A lot of people do.
I know.
Yeah, no. Honestly, man, I gotta roll with them on this one.
What did Will say? Will say.
Wait, what Shelby say?
You can always switch to private if it bothers you.
Which one? Who can switch it to private?
You can switch your relationship status, I believe, to private.
Okay.
You know, if it bothers you that much.
Will, how do you see it? Yay or nay on the social media relationship status?
What does Shelton say? If you have no status, that's one thing. If you're married and your relationship status is single, that's completely something different.
And I agree with you. Okay, Shelton, all right.
And what's your excuse for that? Oh, well, I just haven't updated.
Yeah. I haven't updated in about 5 years.
Right.
Absolutely correct, Shelton.
Shami says, honestly, too many people are in your business. Every time someone changes their status, you have a bunch of people all in your business. Right. So if someone said change your status from in relationship to I'm single, oh yeah, what happened? Blah blah blah.
No, Doc. Look, I've invested a lot of likes and follows and everything else behind that, crappy picture you put of you and your ex 3 months ago. I want to know what the hell happened. I didn't invest my time following this relationship, wishing you nothing but the best. Damn it, I want to know if it fails.
What happened? What happened?
Look, if it fails, I want to know that part too. Tell me.
And that's what I'm talking about. If you, some people are more private than others. You can be private with your relationship, but you don't have to keep it a secret. That's what I'm saying. Leave a little mystery out there on social media.
I think
you don't have to put all your business out there on social media.
And I think a little mystery is cool, man.
Yeah.
Yo, Nicholas Jones said y'all worried about the wrong thing. The only time that shit should be a question is if you're married, because essentially, if you're not married, you are single.
Nick, now I'm gonna call you out because it sounds good in theory.
Right, it sounds good in theory.
It sounds good in theory, Nick.
But if you're in a relationship that's headed towards marriage, do you share your
even if you're dating somebody and you're heading to a relationship, you come with that.
Oh.
Yeah. You're like, well, we're technically not, we're single until we get. I mean, I'm just.
Fellas, I mean, now that we're literally right here in it, I have to ask you guys for real. Yo, do you guys change or have your relationship status up on your social media stuff?
Of course, the voice is gonna come with some personal.
Are you asking me personally?
I'm asking point blank, man. Do you guys have relationship statuses?
Oh, you're trying to put us on point. What's your relationship status? And what does your Facebook say?
Get him.
Get out of here with that. What? Come on. What does yours say?
Hey, let's look it up. The voice. We can always do that.
What does it say?
I'll answer right after you, though.
No, you answer right now. Because you know she's watching. So what does your status say? What does your status say? Everybody knows I'm married. That's all new. But what does your status say?
According to my profile, it looks like I like playing video games, and that's about it.
No.
Let's get back to the comments.
There's no relationship status on this for me.
Okay, so you got to talk to your sandwich maker about that tonight.
And the sandwich maker, we appreciate you because the sandwich like
my sandwich. Yeah, no. For me, like Nicholas Jones said, I don't care. My relationship is my relationship. If I'm in one, if I'm not in one, it is what it is. But I'm not gonna make a public service announcement on any social media platform of me being or not being in a relationship. Because I don't care about other people.
The thing about it should be up to you and your significant other, however, I guess, makes them feel comfortable. But they shouldn't dictate.
No.
What's going on saying that becomes not fun to me.
Now, say you're married, you get married. Do you change your status?
Absolutely, I think marriage is a different.
If you so what your page has no relationship status to show if you're married. Is that cool? Is that acceptable?
Ooh. Boy, this show. Ooh, what a show.
Are you just being private?
Marvin said, "Damn, a sandwich maker."
You don't.
I just need to be clear, Marvin. The sandwich is bomb, and they ate like 2 out of the 4 that I had in it. That's all I'm saying. They smashed the sandwich.
Oh man, it was bomb. You got any more left, actually? But yeah.
No, man, I ate the 2 pieces.
What does Shelton say? Let's just get on to.
Shelton said, if you are married and you need to secure your wife with that adjustment, that's a no-brainer. So you trying to secure your property? In other words, Shelton, is that what we doing here?
I don't think you said it.
Why else would we be making a public service announcement? You talking about to secure your wife?
Well, it's a part of a respect thing, and it's a part of a commitment that you guys.
But if you're just a total private person and you just have no relationship status there, are you wrong for that?
Ooh. That's going to be a next episode. We got to do it.
Is he married? Is he single? Is he in a relationship? He doesn't show a relationship status.
So we ain't hot boys.
Stop investigating. Stop trying to dig. As far as I'm concerned, if there's nothing there to literally read or go off of, stop trying to assume.
Right.
But people make a lot of assumptions, though. So, you know what I'm saying? And that's what Facebook and that's what social media is.
Right.
Is, you know what I'm saying? We put this image out there. Regardless of whether that's true or not.
Right.
Most times it's not.
Right.
But that's what it is.
Well, I mean, just put enough out there what you want people to know. And they're going to assume what they want to assume, and people are going to talk. I mean, let them talk. It is what it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, guys, we are getting toward the end of the show, and this has been a good one. It seemed like we've been on for, dang. Wow. Anyways. Thank you guys once again for tuning in to Shopkulture. You know who this man is, the relationship guru, giving you those gems, and we got another gem for you, man. You ready? You ready to?
Yeah.
Let's let the doc end it on the gem.
Yeah. A lot of times, women look into things about finding a quality man, what it takes to find a quality man.
Mm-hmm.
First off, ladies, be a quality woman. Mm-hmm. And those things that you put on your list, that you want a quality man, make sure that the list of what you bring to the table is just as long. But on that point, one of the most important qualities to find in today's men is a man that has a solid work ethic. You have to find a man who isn't afraid to go out there, get it, and come home with it. I find that too many guys today have a desire to have nice things and provide, but when it comes to doing what it takes to do better for themselves, their families' lives, they become excuse factories. If it's taking a civil service test, going back to school, getting retrained or certified in a certain discipline, or simply going to work every day, some men have a million reasons why they can't. Do yourself and your future children a favor and avoid these men at all costs. Yes, you can encourage a man to want more and to do better, but you can't teach a grown man to have desire and drive. Absolutely. And remember that in your pursuits, ladies. Feel my flow. Follow me on Facebook.
Hashtag. This is the relationship guru, Dr./Mr./Dr. James R. Hill.
Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Like it and share with your friends.
Man, come on. And you know who that man is with the voice?
Yo, appreciate
Twan,
you guys. Appreciate you guys very much. Very. You gonna say goodbye to our folks, man?
Man, hold on. Don't forget our boy Nick Jones. But Nick Jones. And once again, I am Barry Crosby, and this is Shopkulture. Once again, guys, we want to thank you guys for tuning in. And remember to like and share Shopkulture.
And
Yes. So once again, stay safe and be blessed.